Welcome to another Baka commentary video. In this video, I'll be doing my analysis on the state of AMD as of Q1 2024. So, the division that I consider is very much on the doing the heavy lifting at the moment is the CPU division. Ever since the AMD 3000 series, AMD have really gone into the mind share of the CPU buyers. And as one, right now they're suffering from freaking success, where they don't have enough product to sell to people that want the product. This has resulted in products that basically outstrip the demand of manufacturing for AMD CPU. However, it's not all sunshine and rainbow. As one, it seems that on the consumer end, this AMD seems to be making more than what the market is willing to buy, and as a result, they have to end up try and discount the product to try and attract new customers for the product. The one that are just basically running off the shelf and they can't keep in stock is the data center and the Threadripper lineup. This seemed to have really high margin, and on top of it, basically every CPU that is made for that Threadripper and the data center stuff just flies off shelf. There's a queue. And this has resulted in, AMD able to push even higher margin on the Threadrippers and the data center CPU thread EPYC CPU. Which, yay, result on top of their competitor basically have bowed out. AMD is basically free to do whatever they want in the data center and the Threadripper workstation market, since they basically hold a monopoly on that market now. And clearly on the other side, the consumer end, the Ryzen's stuff, clearly AMD seems to have an issue where they have a lot of time the launch quarter, they miscalculate the amount of stock that they give to everybody at some region. They want a lot of stock, can't seem to get enough of them, and on some countries, regions like, hey, we have way too many CPUs on day one. We can't sell all of them, AMD. You fucked up by, giving us too much stock, and we basically have to lower, the price of our stock to move, man. And a lot of times, AMD seems to have a problem on the consumer side of like the Ryzen and stuff. Is like, they seem to have a bit of misallocation of where they really, really want to sell the cost. This has resulted in when AMD losing actually quite a lot of their customers to their competitors as a result of, when some customers are like, hey, I want to build it now, want it now, and you AMD don't have stock, guess what? They're going to go to your competitor. This has resulted in, by the time you have caught up with, your actual demand, you have ended up overproducing product on your consumer side as well. Either some of those customers just went, no, I can't wait in time, I'm just going to go with your competitors. Or, this ends up resulting in a lot of excessive stock, which requires not the retail, which the AMD and the distributor for now isn't affected, but what is going to be affected immediately is going to be the retailers going to be like, we have all this old stock. We have all these stock that we need to sell, and we're going to have to lower the margin. Or at worst, we're going to have to sell it at cost to move it off the stock. if we don't move the stock out, well, this ends up when it starts to, return. But a lot of time, AMD tries to stop the bleeding here, where it's like, hey, just sell it at cost. Or sell at a loss, we will compensate you for it. AMD does not want this, but for the absolute worst case scenario, AMD really will just get them returned. And a lot of time, those excessive stock end up as e-waste or just being resold to retailers / distributors that are willing to buy old inventory that got resold. Yeah, that's my analysis and opinion on the AMD CPU division. On the other part of the AMD division, the AMD Radeon division, this department seems to not be as consistent. As sometimes we have one generation really, really good, and the next generation, yeah, we're going to be a scumbag of the earth, and we are going to crap on our consumer, and we are just not going to be consistent again. Again, AMD Radeon seems to have a really, really poor, consistent reputation as they just keep flipping in, out, in, out, in, out. Reputation on the good, bad on neutral, some at best case scenario. And the result, their reputation is they have worse software and drivers, which, to be honest, does AMD still deserve this moniker? No. But because of this inconsistency between each generation, this has resulted in basically getting this poor software, poor driver reputation, and is known as the poor man discrete graphics card when NVIDIA is not an option. And basically, with the third competitor, Intel, coming in, Intel did not take market share from NVIDIA, their big competitor. In fact, when Intel came in, it took AMD freaking market share, and in fact, AMD was really fighting against the new Intel discrete department, and NVIDIA is like, whatever, it doesn't harm us, and Intel didn't harm us, so yay, enjoy fighting it out, you two. How does AMD avoid this? AMD Radeon clearly needs to be like, hey, needs to be more consistent throughout multiple generations, and again, be more consumer centric, which they seem to be doing when possible. However, yeah, your driver stuff, yeah, needs to be more, again, consistent, where you need to work with game developers and software developers, be like, hey, here's maybe we work with you to make your AMD Radeon product work better on your game and software so that it's less buggy and more better user and the user experience. But yeah, in my final opinion, AMD Radeon clearly does know how to design good hardware for the money shoestring budget that they do get, and that they just clearly need to do a little bit more improvement from, bit more money to help them design it even better, and on top of, better marketing and, well, better software drivers department, and hopefully be more consistent. Now, on to the less known part of AMD. Did you know AMD makes a lot of custom chips that you and I don't really see? The stuff that is really, really in our face. You're wondering, what are they? Well, you likely have seen in, when you walk around shopping centers or whatever in a game, you would see PS5 and Xbox Series S and X. Guess who designed them? Guess who has co-designed them? Yes, they're Sony and Microsoft products, but guess who co-engineered them? That's right, AMD has collaborated with Sony and Microsoft to make these products, as the PS5 SoC is engineered by AMD, and then that design is then handed off to Sony to get rest of the components together and get it ready for the console. And basically the same thing with Xbox Series S and X. Basically, same thing. However, this is the AMD's lifeline, as during the AMD slump, the CPU and the GPU division were just basically zombies and basically hemorrhaging money. And the only department that was like, hey, we're making some money is, you guessed it, the custom chip department. This is what kept AMD going between the terrible bulldozer or the FX chip to the AMD Ryzen chip. You know why AMD didn't go bankrupt? You can thank the underrated custom chip department that will forever be the fundamental core and bread and butter of AMD. That it will keep them going. And considering they've gone from extremely tight budget and into good amount of budget, as their customers and AMD has eventually went, hey, we're willing to spend more money on these custom SoC parts. So in conclusion of AMD in Q1 2024, it's in a pretty good state. The two section of AMD really carrying AMD, and AMD, if they really want to, increase their evaluation or, make better consumer, maybe start really getting your AMD Radeon department to step up and really make the better public perception. And other than that, I think AMD will be running at the peak, budget and efficiency and money profit ratio. And yeah, that's it for my analysis opinion video for this. And if you do, do the typical YouTube like and subscribe stuff and share to grow the community. And I'll see you guys in the next video.